we missing? Where's Firewolf?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm driving.
Okay.
She's at Disney World.
I wish I was at Disney. That sounds fun, actually.
I'd rather be.
Trip.
Oh.
I haven't been there since
All
I was
right,
like
we're
16.
counting down. We're counting down. Please.
Athena Gray is she. She is Athena Gray, wife to Wolf. In the wolf pack, there is the alpha male wolf and the alpha female wolf. They run right alongside each other. Wife to wolf is the alpha female wolf, and the alpha male wolf is...
When you need that, don't hesitate, just tell my line, your fantasy, yeah. I'm sending chills up down your spine, and girl, I need it. Won't catch me in these streets, I play this game for keeps. Now could you say the least, mixing dirty with the Sprite. I just smoke, babe, that's alright. In my zone, in my element, gift from God, feeling heaven sent. This that new shit that I'm on, to the face, you know I'm gone. You say I'm always wrong, but keep coming back for more. Touching me, yeah. You see what I see with a real nigga like when you need that. Don't hesitate, just in my life, girl, I need it. Won't catch me in these streets, I play this game for keeps. Now could you say the least? Touching me, yeah. Cause see what I see with a real nigga like what you need, yeah. I ain't gon' lie, you just my type of fantasy, yeah. She want the Louis V carry on.
Athena Gray.
Episode number 4 of Wife to Wolf in the Wolf Pack. I am Athena Gray, and tonight we have a new addition to the pack that's gonna make us better. And let me introduce her. But first, we're gonna talk about the topic real quick. Do you have? I think tonight's topic is do you need a narcissist to make it a real hot girl summer? Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. I heard narcissists were good in bed. But anyway, back to our new addition to the Wolf Pack, the Dr. Kitty Care. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her. So funny I said induce. And you'll find out why that's funny in a second.
No pun intended. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Kitty Care, and I'm a board-certified OBGYN. And for those of you who don't know what an OBGYN is, I am a woman's doctor. In wolf language, I handle everything from the head to the tail. In the past 20 years, I have delivered thousands of babies, and I provide medical care to women in the United States, including the continent of Africa. I am happy to be here and a member of the Wolf Pack. Thank you.
All right, Wolf Pack, let's give that proper welcome on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, we are so glad to have you. And the reason I thought that my mistake, because I'm trying to take this to the head, I'm so behind. But my mistake in saying induce instead of introduce is because Dr. Kitty Care, I'm sure you've had to induce someone before.
Quite a few. Quite a few.
I know I've had to be induced.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know what we're saying, it's basically sometimes when a woman's, how about I let the experts, speak to that. Dr. Kitty Care, for those on the call who don't understand or haven't had children or know anyone, can you explain what I meant when I was talking about induce and why it was funny?
Well, babies can only be brought into the world one of 2 ways, okay? That's either through the vagina or a cesarean section. So when we talk about inducing, we induce for reasons. There are many reasons, too many to really discuss on the show right now, but that's really what Athena Wolf was talking about, bringing babies into the world.
Yes.
And the way we do them.
And that's why I thought
we do them.
Yes. And that's why I thought it was hysterical when I said induce instead of introduce,
yes,
because of who Dr. Kitty Care is. But anyway, so the proper topic tonight, without me being silly, is signs you are dating or married to a narcissist. Mm. Mm-hmm.
Or were.
Now, wait. If you're just trying to have a hot girl or hot boy summer, I mean, does it really matter? I don't know. But I guess maybe by the end of the night, we'll know the answer to that question. But really quick, I'm going to go through the symptoms of narc behavior. And then I'm going to ask specifically Dr. Kitty Care to shed some light on it, and then Dr. Love. So let's go over the symptoms, and then we'll go through the wolf pack and see if any of you believe that you or someone you know has dated a narcissist. Are you ready? So symptoms of narc behavior. So grandiose sense of self-importance. Okay. Preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. I don't know, is that kind of like daydreaming that one day we'll walk the red carpet with our masks on? I don't know, but okay, I'll keep going. So, the belief they are special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions. Need for excessive admiration. I mean, sometimes compliments can be foreplay, right? Sense of entitlement. Interpersonally exploitative of behavior, lack of empathy, envy of others or a belief that others are envious of them, demonstration of arrogant and haughty behaviors or attitudes, and not during role play, outside the bedroom. All right, so Wolfpack, get ready because we're going to go to you, but we're going to start with our newest member of the pack. Dr. Kitty Care. Dr. Kitty Care, what can you tell us about these behaviors we went over and how to identify?
Well, what I can tell you is that with narc behavior, if you know a narc, they could be the life of the party and they are fun for one night stand, but they are not relationship material. They are not relationship material. They are not relationship material. You know, I've had experience with narcissistic people, and I do mean the personality disorder, not the people on the spectrum. My last serious relationship, I met a man, and he was, I mean, everything, love bombed me. I mean, I thought I met Prince Charming. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what fairy tales are made of. He literally mirrored me. Whatever I liked, he liked. I like eggs, he likes eggs. I love pizza, he loves pizza.
Wow.
I literally fell in love with myself.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what will happen. They will mirror you. This man was, and he was very slow and methodical because they groom you, just like child molesters. Narcs can sense it, right? They gravitate towards people who are very kind, people who are also codependent, who need to be needed. They you know what, they'll latch on to anyone. They're predators, okay? This particular individual was so smooth and so suave to the point where I fell right into the trap and ended up losing myself, ended up moving in with this person. And slowly but surely, after all the love bombing and the mirroring, then came the triangulation. He would pit me against family members or other girls. You know, he would set up triangles to induce jealousy. Slowly but surely, he would gaslight me. I would question my reality. Okay. Tell me I was totally like insane for seeing things that were there, but he said that they weren't there.
Right.
Future faking. He would future fake by telling me, hey, we're getting married. You know, all this is for us. This was a guy who had his own business. He made his business seem like it was bigger than really what it was. And of course, me thinking we had a future, I started throwing money that way. So my money started to slip to the point where, you know, full transparency here, I lost $250,000.
Right.
Okay. To this individual.
Right.
Then one day I woke up, you know, and my health was bad. They will drain you to the point you are a shell of a person that you once were, you know, you once happened to be.
Yes.
And I woke up one day, packed up everything, left, and have been on a healing journey since. And I found a wonderful psychotherapist who specializes in narcissistic abuse recovery and codependency, because
Okay.
this is a very real thing. It's not as rare as people once thought. Right
It's
now, oh, I'm
quite
sorry.
common. It's actually quite common.
Yes, if you speak to a lot of therapists in the field or specialists in the field, they will tell you it's no longer that 1 or 2%. They're saying they are willing to bet their bottom dollar that we're looking at 30 to 40%.
Jeez.
Just
Yes.
talk
Yes.
to your girlfriends and your family members. I guarantee everybody knows somebody that's
Oh, yeah.
either in a
Yep.
relationship or has been in a relationship with a narcissist.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
and now we have the language for it. We have the terms. Before, we're just thinking, oh, something's wrong with me. What's going on? The guy's just a bad dude, or he's just a cheater, or he's just a liar. We actually have a name for this,
Right.
and now you're hearing it left and right. You know,
Right.
people are being exposed.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Kitty Care. So now we're going to go on to Dr. Love. And based on what Dr. Kitty Care just said, I actually have another question that just came to me. So because I'm forgetful and I'm under the influence, I'm going to ask you all to help me. The question is basically, so I remember it later, how does one marry one? So like if all this happens in the dating process in 2 years, how do you get married to one? I mean, I know I kind of married a borderline one. Right, like he's in that spectrum, like we talked about. But
Because
so
you don't see it when you're in it.
I should be able to answer that question. I should be able to answer that firsthand. But
That's simple.
anyway.
You don't see it when you're in it.
Yeah.
Yes, and they move pretty quickly.
You have to be
They
very
really
strong.
move. They move fast.
And they make it hot girl winters and summers and falls and springs
See
and
it
all
very
that.
different from the outside and after you leave.
Yeah.
When
Right.
you're in it, your perspective is they change your perspective. You know,
Right.
they put like blinders
Enhance
on
on
you.
it
It's crazy.
sometimes.
And
And when you get out of it, you're like, how did I allow that? I mean, it's so
Right.
blatant.
Yeah, I mean, it was right there in your face, literally.
Yes,
right
exactly.
there in your face.
And for
Yeah.
those
Your
of
friends
you
probably told you.
and for those of you who don't know, that voice is Firewolf. You don't see her on the screen, but that's Firewolf speaking and Dr. Kitty Care. All right, so thank you very much, Firewolf. Thank you very much, Dr. Kitty Care. Moving on to Dr. Love. Dr. Love, as a psychotherapist, what is your feedback on that? What can you share with our listeners on dating or being married to a narcissist?
Oh gosh, you're gonna have to shut me up today because I can go on about this for like 4 hours.
Get it, get it, girl, get it, girl.
Yeah. First of all, Dr. Kitty Hair, I'm so sorry that happened to you, and I can empathize with you. I'm not you, right? But I've dated one for 4 years as well, and he nearly ruined my life.
Yes.
So I know what that journey's like, and he still bothers me to this day, although he does not have the same emotional power over me. I'll speak a little bit to the cycle of narcissistic abuse so people can understand if they're in this cycle, like what to do. And I actually pulled up an image so I can share on the screen. Oh, I can't. Okay. Unless I am given some sort of permission.
And listen, Dr. Love, you know if I knew how to give you permission, I would give you permission.
Okay. Okay. I'll just speak it.
I don't
through.
have
an image.
the mouse to do it. I would give it to you.
Okay. I'll just try to speak it through.
Okay.
So the first phase and Dr. of the cycle of narcissistic abuse is well, first of all, I do want to say, like, even though like we so funny and we so like down to earth and cool, there's a great YouTuber named Dr. Ramani who has so many videos on this. So I want to give a shout out to her.
Shout out.
She is an expert on this topic. If you find yourself like a lot of this resonates with you and you want more information, I can't tell you who I am because in IRL, but I'm Dr. Love, but I also specialize in this. Moving forward. The first phase of being in a narcissistic relationship with a perpetrator, a narcissistic perpetrator, is that they will love bomb you, as Dr. Kitty Care said. So you will feel like the only person in the entire world. They're going to shower you with gifts. They're going to study you, find out what you like, appeal to everything you like. This is also called the idealization phase. It's just another word for love bombing. They're going to completely put you on a pedestal. And you will literally feel like you're in a fairy tale. So if you're going on a date with someone and they're taking you to the nicest, finest establishment on date one, you might be like, whoa, I'm going to a Michelin star restaurant. But like, it might be a little bit of a red flag, because things are supposed to develop in a healthy relationship slowly. I'm not saying everyone who takes you to a bougie restaurant is a narcissist, but just, you know, take note and observe the rest. If they talk about themselves the entire time and how great they are, that might be another flag, right? But also sweep you off your feet and are very charming. So with the narcissist I dated, I went to a Ivy institution, and I also wanted to get my Mrs. degree. So I thought that I could double major. And I thought it was, you know, very ignorantly, I was in my early 20s. I thought that, and I had been exposed mostly to really kind-hearted people my whole life and pretty sheltered. I thought that this was safe dating ground. Of course, I meet the one psychopath on campus. Well, not to say there's not more. But I was training to be a therapist. So I was being trained to suspend my judgment. So I noticed things that were strange, but I said, Sarah, doctor, so who's that? Dr. Love, you are being really judgmental. And I invalidated myself. And the narcissist will, if you question the narcissist about how they make their money, about how they live in this fine establishment that they live in, or whatever it is, if it's a topic that they're, if it's something that is part of their con, because really these are con people, who believe that they're so special. Deep down, I believe that they actually have very low self-worth, and they're not consciously aware of that. And they blow themselves up because it's too painful to feel that. But if you question part of their con, they will get really angry, typically, and say, that's a personal question. You should not be asking that. They might go straight for the jugular, insult you. The next day they'll apologize, or they won't talk to you for like a week, and then they'll come around. They won't apologize, but they'll be like, let's go on this trip, like as if nothing happened. They'll say, you're crazy, that didn't happen.
Dr.
I
Love.
have an avatar on. Okay, sorry. And so that, and okay, so back to my narc. Yeah, so long story short, it was great. We went on trips all the time. He swept me off my feet. We would fight. We wouldn't talk for once. I would work up the courage to confront him, set a boundary. This, is part of the cycle, right? And then they usually come back and say, like, I'm so sorry, and go back to idealizing you, or love bombing you to get that control, because you become their source of what's called narcissistic supply. You are giving them the validation, and making them feel so good. And as Dr. Kitty Care said, they choose usually empaths and people who are going to like make them feel so amazing about themselves. So my narcissist tried to, over time, over a span of 4 years, distance me from my family, make me believe that my family was not good. And I started to believe him, which was really scary. He would do things. He wanted to drive my car. He wanted to do things like that. He would insult my religion. I'm Jewish, and say that I was being cheap, and try to manipulate and guilt me. And then he would move my things. I'm very particular about where I put my things. If I put something here, he would move it. And then I would say, why'd you move my car keys? And then he'd say, I didn't move your car keys. You're crazy. You're losing it. And over time, this type of psychological abuse literally starts to make you question your sanity. And they're isolating you from your family slowly by pointing out things that are wrong, that capitalizing on the things, your childhood wounds that you are sharing with them as vulnerable information. And essentially what ended up happening, I saw this person go from like so wealthy to like homeless, so wealthy, homeless, so wealthy, homeless, like 4 or 5 times in the span of 4 years. What happened in my case was I actually became afraid of this person because of their erratic behavior. And I feared and loved him at the same time. And it was a very strange feeling for me. I kind of call this trauma bonding, when you're confusing the arousal you feel from the fear as love. Like your brain doesn't really know the difference. And also I felt if I left, I didn't know what he would do, because I saw some of the things he was doing to other people. And he was extremely intelligent, but he used it in all the wrong ways. I was terrified. And then, so essentially, and I couldn't tell people because they were like, just get away from him. But it was really complex. I was afraid of it was bizarre. I can't really explain it, but I started to notice, because his income was such a mystery. Weird things would happen. He'd take me on these extravagant dates, but sometimes the credit card would get declined. And then I would have to pick up the bill. And I would get angry, and then I was cheap, and this whole big argument would blow up. But essentially what I started to believe, and I don't have a confirmation of this, is that he actually was, at one point he was throwing wedding parties. And I believe he was going around and stealing the guests' credit cards until they were canceled, taking me on extravagant trips, and saying he was making money off of those wedding parties, when really he had conned some man to live in his mansion and throw the parties to cover the rent. And I believe during those parties, he was always sneaking around, and I think he was just taking advantage of people having a good time in the moment and taking this is my theory. It's a complete theory, but I've analyzed the situation to death, and this is all I can think. And also weird things would happen, like his car would magically light on fire. No joke. And then he'd get a huge insurance check. And I think, and he would slip and fall. And then I started to finally, I was in my early 20s. It started to finally, I think a turning point for me was that I read the Vanity Fair article on Bad Vegan before it was I don't know if anyone has seen Bad Vegan. Has anyone seen Bad Vegan? It's a Netflix series right now about a very smart restaurateur in New York City. Her name is Sarma, and she created a high-end vegan restaurant in New York City that a lot of celebrities frequented. And then she met a con man, and he basically ruined her life and brainwashed her to steal money from investors. She had to go to jail, and now she's back. And it's a great documentary. And so I read my friend sent me that Vanity Fair article. I read it, and I was like, I think this is where I'm headed. I think this is a wake-up call for me. And I got away, But then I'm at work one day and I leave and he's sitting in my waiting room. This is like 6 months later. He, by the way, he tortured.
Sitting in your waiting room as you are a psychotherapist, correct? Just making sure the viewers.
I was
right.
working for someone else at the time, and I went out to go to Starbucks, and he's sitting there in the waiting room of my job, which there's a code to get into the building. So I don't even know how he got up there. This is 6 months after our last contact. He was texting me. I would block him. He'd create a burner number, text me there, call me, fucking with me, prank calling. I had a new boyfriend. He sent a Sybian to my parents' house addressed to me. He sent baby condoms. He found out where my new boyfriend lived, sent baby condoms to his house, like little small wiener condoms, just like crazy shit.
You got a little dick. That's what you're trying to say.
No, it's okay. It's crazy. Like, no one would believe this shit. I'm telling you a very short version. And so, anywho, he's sitting in the waiting room and he has a huge bandage around his head. And I'm like, I got to get him out of the building because if my boss sees that this psycho's here, I'm like fired. Right. So I'm like, first I turn around because I'm scared. And then I'm like, I'm not going to show this fucker that I'm scared of him. Right. So I'm like, let me get him out. So I turn this way back to go outside. And I'm like, 15 minutes. I have a patient. And I'm like, I'm going to get him out of the building. I'm like, I'm going to Starbucks, 15 minutes. And then we're talking. He goes, I got my ear bitten off.
wait. He got his ear bitten off?
Yes, he showed it to me under the bandage. He really did have a big chunk bitten out of his ear. And I need emotional support. He always played on the fact that I was a therapist, told me I was a terrible therapist when I didn't tell him what he wanted to hear, a great therapist. He found all my interests and capitalized on them.
Can we admit your color into the waiting room?
Yeah, so he said, I need emotional support. I said, I'm sorry that happened to you. I cannot be the person to support you. No more.
Oh, okay.
And essentially, a couple months later, get a letter. I happened to own some real estate, and he was staying in an Airbnb. The Airbnb happened to be under my ownership, and he got his ear bitten off by the Airbnb host and was trying to sue me. And so I hired a private investigator. I got all the information about his history conning. And I said, you sure you want to do this? And then he kind of went away. He still bothers me. But there was something else that happened that was crazy. What the hell was it? It was really insane. I can't remember it. Maybe my brain doesn't want to remember it.
No worries, Dr. Love. So
I'll really quickly, because it's relevant. He actually got me pregnant, and I'm not sure how he got me pregnant. He always tried to...
I can explain that to you, Dr. Love, later.
Yes. Except I believe it occurred when I was sleeping. But that's a grand thing to say.
Maybe he needed those kitty condoms. If you were sleeping, you don't remember.
Oh, yes. But I had to get an abortion, and I'm vocal about this, especially with what's going on in the world right now. And I was so afraid to tell him that I said I had a miscarriage, because he said he would try to use that as a thing. If you get an abortion, I go this way, you go this way, and we're gone. But then he'd be like, I want to push you around in a carriage and take care of you forever. Like, it was very confusing.
Right.
But essentially, I lost my mind. I didn't trust myself anymore. I didn't trust my judgment. And I went away for a little while. And it was the best thing I ever did. And now I feel wiser because of all of it. But just be really wary of people who make you feel like the only person in the world and are obsessed with themselves and tell you all these grand things they've done, but have no direct facts to back it up. And if you are dating in this world and you are using dating apps, I highly recommend investing in a background checker, because it is a big
Three steps up
fave at the end of the day. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I'm sorry about the tangent.
No, Dr. Love. Thank you very much. Dr. Kitty Care and Dr. Love, you shared a lot of information with our listeners, viewers. I'm going to show this show to my daughters. Thank you very, very much for digging deep. Thank you for going deep with us. Thank you for educating us, and thank you for sharing with us. We appreciate that. Thank you very much, because that's real, true, direct insight into what it's like to date. Red flags of a narcissist and how they can damn near almost destroy you if you are not a strong, magnificent, fabulous woman like Dr. Kitty Care and Dr. Love. On a count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, yes! And now y'all deserve a hot girl summer.
Can I add 2 things I just want the viewers to know briefly?
Go ahead.
Okay. If you feel addicted to this person, you might be in a narcissistic relationship, because it feels almost like you feel out of control, like you feel addicted, like you're like addicted like a chemical substance. So that's a flag. And also, they will do something in the cycle called devaluing you. So they will discard you temporarily and cheat on you, philander, whatever, compare you to other people. That's also another flag. Like, this person that I dated wouldn't do that, or like make you feel really worthless, and compare you to other women or men or whatever. So those are other flags as well. If you're in a situation. And also, some people choose to stay in these situations, and that's totally okay. It's completely their call. So if you do choose to stay in a situation like this, my biggest piece of advice is just learn how to practice boundaries to keep yourself safe.
Yes.
And it's no place for anyone to judge.
Right.
Because you might have kids together. You might be financially dependent on this person.
Right.
Just try to find ways to keep yourself safe.
Thank you, Dr. Love. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Dr. Kitty Care, I'm going to please say something, and then we're going to go on to Keisha, who just logged in to share her experience. Go ahead, Dr. Kitty Care.
Okay. And it's just something, this is a prime example with Dr. Love and myself, that anyone can be a victim. Okay?
Yes.
Anyone can be a victim. Do not be fooled by saying, oh, that could never happen to me, because it happens every single day.
Yes.
In relationships,
Yes.
at your job, a toxic boss.
Yes.
It happens at your churches by your spiritual leaders. So do not say that this could never happen to you.
Happens to
because
anyone.
it can.
Yes.
That's number one. And just my last point is that, for those of you who are still involved with individuals like this, they cannot be helped. Okay. Research is in by neuroscientists.
Yes.
These people are so psychologically damaged that even brain scans show a difference. Yep. In certain brain structures, things that would light up in normal people who have empathy, who have love, who care for people, do not light up in these individuals.
That's a good point.
So it's a very real thing. Don't try to fix them. You can't. And you can't win against them. You can't win.
And one
because
thing
they fight to the death. They fight to the death. Everything they loved about you at the beginning, they want dead in you at the end.
Woo! Deep. Yes.
And never gonna change.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to add to that, from what I understand and what I read, narc men, right? Let's talk about specifically narc men, actually target high status women. So they don't go after, Bone Quisha with 10 kids on welfare. They like women who are actually educated, have something going on, and doing something for themselves. So I just want to point that out. Now, I'm going to assume, based on what happened with my son, and we'll talk about that later, that the women do the same thing. All right. So on that note, let's hear from our caller, who is going to also share her experience with a narc man. Keisha, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi,
Hi.
Keisha. Thank you so much for calling in. So, Keisha, let me ask you a question. If you had to visualize 5 bullet points in your head, what would you say describes the narc male that you dated?
Mm. So he was charming. Um, he was possessive, insecure. Let me see, jealous, um, and very sweet.
All in one, huh? All right. So, Keisha, how long did you date this gentleman? Well, narc.
I dated him for about 2 years. I married him a year and a half into us dating. And it was at first it was amazing. He was amazing, very charming. One mistake that I made was I told him everything I didn't get in my previous relationship. So he played on that and he gave me everything that I asked for and more. And then when he knew that he got me, he kindly he stripped it all away.
Okay.
And
So,
I was
go ahead. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I was in awe because I was just like, we had this amazing relationship, great chemistry. I mean, he flew down. We lived in separate states, so he would fly down to my house. I'll say 4 or 5 times a month. So everything was great. So I was in awe when he started pulling things away from me that made me draw to him. And I was just like what is going on? It was really confusing.
So, Keisha, what would you say are some red flags to the men and women listening that, you may be talking, texting, dating a narcissist? What are some early signs, red flags that you feel you may have ignored?
I would say when they want you to themselves. Yeah, when no one else matters but you and that person, when they want you to themselves, that's like a big red flag. When they start lying and then try to justify it and then make it seem like you're crazy. That's a big red flag. And also when they personality switches for no reason. And you're like, okay, who is this person? This is not who I met in the very beginning. That's also a big red flag.
All right, so really quick, when it's good, I want it to myself. Elaborate on that more. Because when it's good, I want it to myself, Keisha. So, Keisha, elaborate. What do you mean when you say they want you to themselves?
For example, I have children. And he only wanted us to be together. We would travel, to different states and countries. But when it came to me, incorporating him with my kids, it was, oh no, let's just have it be us. Or if I wanted to go out with me and my girlfriends, he would say, well, I want to go too. And I would say, well, why would you want to hang with a bunch of females? And he's like, well, I just want to be with you. That's all that matters. Give an example. My sons always wanted me to make breakfast for them, and one day, he came to my house and he was just like, "Well, I don't want you making breakfast for them. They can make breakfast for themselves. You're only supposed to make breakfast for me." And I was like, "What? Excuse me?" And that right there gave me a red flag because I believe he got jealous because I was tending to my kids and not just tending to him. And actually, when him and I went to counseling with his pastor, he told his pastor that he was jealous of the relationship that I had with my kids. And he didn't realize that I had such a strong relationship with my children.
That dude is sick.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, Keisha. So, Keisha, next question. For those out there who are watching, listening to this show tonight, how did you get away from him?
Well, I would say you have to be strong. You just have to realize who you are and don't question yourself. Don't doubt yourself because you know who you are. And even though he's trying to, play with your mind and try to devalue you, if you're strong, you can walk away from him quietly.
How do you walk away, Keisha? How do you walk away from someone like this? How did you walk away, Keisha?
Know your worth and your value and just disconnect.
I know my worth. I know my value. What do I do next? He's calling.
Stop all communication.
He wants to see me. He's calling. He wants to see me. He's on my Instagram. He's coming by my house. What do I do, Keisha?
If you're not that strong, because I know I'm guilty of that a little bit. I was. What you can do is just never put yourself in a position to see that person. You can say what you want to say. Oh, sure, I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, sure, I'll see you next week.
Okay.
But just make sure, because if you see that person, then you're going to forget about all the stuff that happened because it was always so good in the beginning, and that's what you want to stick to. Because at one point, deep down inside, I was just like, he is a good person. He just need help. Right?
Oh, but Dr. Empath. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But then I realized, I said, wait a minute. He knows what he's doing. Right? He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows what to say to me to get me to give in. So let me not put myself in a situation where I'm going to give in, because we all, guilty of being in love with somebody, right? So you just have to make sure you don't put yourself in that situation.
So Keisha, basically what I hear you saying to me is once you recognize and realize that you're being manipulated by a narc, the best thing to do is cut off all communication. Don't accept text messages. Don't accept flowers. Don't remove them from your social media pages and block them. Just basically go into dead silence like you never existed. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Dr. Kitty Care, Dr. Love, is that what you both agree with?
Yes, and they will maybe try to create other ways to contact you. I actually would expect and plan for that and just keep blocking. Actually document it. And if you have to file a restraining order, you can. I wouldn't give them a response even if you're scared. And I'm guilty of that myself because I've done that. But it's usually more ammo. They want that.
Got it. And Dr. Kitty Care.
Yes, I agree.
It stops being fun if you don't play back with them.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And it drives them crazy, but they will eventually leave you alone. Eventually. Now, I will say this. There are those people who they call it a Hoover, like a Hoover vacuum. There are those people who say that their narcs will pop up 5-10 years later, still trying to come back into their life. They could be married with kids. It doesn't even matter. They will still attempt.
Because they will always see you as the one who got away.
They own you. They own you. You are nothing but an object, like the cell phone on your desk. They think they can pick you up and put you down anytime they want to. Yeah.
And a lot of them love the chase. And then when they get you, it's when they don't want you. They say, put you down. They love the chase. When you're not with them, you're on a pedestal.
Yes.
So there's actually 2 comments I can share with you. Because I actually dated multiple narcissists by accident. This is why I'm trying to change myself. But one said to me, once he got me, that he felt really proud, almost like it was a conquest, which felt really strange to me. The other one, the one I was talking about before, when I started dating someone else, he was sending me messages and he said, I feel like someone's in my house.
Wow. Wow.
That sounds so similar.
I don't, going off of dating, what I just said about when I started dating someone else, I don't care how you have to get away from this person. If you want to get away, and the only way you can get away is by jumping into a relationship with a safe person, I'm all for that. Do it.
But you know what? The question I ask myself is, if you're that vulnerable, that beat down, that beat up mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, is it really safe to jump with someone else? Because you may see that person for something they're not. Because I know
what are the chances that you're going to jump to a safe person?
Narcissists
different person
prey on vulnerable. Go ahead.
Can I say something about that? That's so unfair to that safe person to use them.
You're right, Remus. It is. It is.
And so to give somebody that advice, that's just fostering more unhealthy relationships. And that person might really like you. And if you're just getting into the relationship just because they're a safe person, you're trying to get away from this other person. That's upsetting to me.
And here's the thing. The thing is, Dr. Love, to your point, I know people who've done it because maybe the safe person was the person they left for that narc or their ex before that narc. And sometimes you realize, wow, damn, the grass wasn't greener on the other side. So if that's the case and you go back to that person and you know them and they know you, right? Meaning like you know they're safe, right? They know you. They know what you just went through. And they're like, you know what? I want to be with you. I want to help you get through it. No judgment there, right? I've done it. I've seen it done. Okay? So no judgment there. But all I'm saying is for our listeners, if you just got out of a narc relationship or you're realizing as you're listening to this show that you're in one, be careful in not jumping to another one because it could be a narc on the other side waiting for you too. Your judgment is definitely altered at this point. Yeah. Keisha, I'd like to thank you very much for logging on to the call and sharing your experience. I know it has helped me. I'm assuming it has helped our wolf pack, knowing them very well. And thank you very much for sharing. Keisha, is there a rainbow at the end of your story?
Absolutely.
Can you please share that with us?
Yes. So I ended up divorcing him, I want to say 8 months into us being married. And I am currently with my ex-husband, who I was with for 20 years prior, and we're happy.
So to Dr. Love's point, she left her narc and ran back to where she knew was safe. Good point, Dr. Love. Thank you very much, Keisha, for sharing.
I mean, you gotta honestly, like, it's easy as a person on the outside to say, and Remus, I see your point.
You shouldn't use people.
Remus is right. Remus is right too.
That's the same thing.
Because if it's a new person and you're jumping just
Excuse me, Athena. Excuse me. What you're doing is you're doing the same thing the narcissist was doing with you. You are using someone. You're not with them because you like them. You're not with them because you want to be with them. You're not with them because of the way they make you feel. You're with them as a reaction from another person. That's not good advice. That's doing the same thing the narcissist is doing. You're using somebody to make yourself feel better. That's wrong.
Well, I actually kind of feel as if you're putting some words in my mouth.
Go ahead, Dr. Kitty Care.
It's not
Remus, hold on. Dr. Kitty Care.
Yes, this is from my perspective, when I had to contract out with my psychotherapist to undergo intensive therapy I was broken, and he contracted out. He says no relationships for a minimum a year, none. We have to re-examine. We have to examine why you were attracted to this kind of relationship. And it wasn't just this relationship, it was other relationships as well. This was just my rock bottom. And when I was able to really go back, it all stemmed from childhood trauma. So we have to examine why I chose that relationship and stayed in it and almost went financially bankrupt, as well as feeling like I was morally bankrupt.
And I agree with you.
So I can't bring someone else into that.
That makes sense to me. I hear a lot of victimization. This person did it to me, but at a certain point, you got to look at yourself and be like, why was I with this person for 6 weeks, 6 months, 2 years? Why did I let them take all this money from me, do this to me, do that to me? Why didn't I just walk away and leave? Like, what? You at a certain
Remus,
point,
it's not that easy. I mean, like
at a certain point, you have to look at yourself and say,
it's really not that easy though. I mean, I've been in like some really interesting relationships with women, and I've been on the receiving end of some abuse. So I understand that, like, it's easy to ridicule and maybe even.
I'm not ridiculing anyone.
I apologize. I don't mean to use that word.
What I'm saying is, I hear a lot of victimization. This person did this to me. This person did this to me. But at a certain point, like Dr. Kitty Care's therapist told her, it's not so much what about you is attracted to this person. What about that person is attracted to you? What kind of the crazy person does these things to you? What is it about me that would be attracted to me? That's all I'm saying. Is a certain
Remus, I'm going to have to disagree with you because I was attracted to that kind of individual because in the grand scheme of things, going back to my childhood, I had a mother who was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder with narcissistic expression and a father who was narcissistic personality disordered individual. And that is all I knew. When they say you know better, you do better.
Yes.
Or you teach people how to treat you. Well, if that was how I was taught, I didn't come from a home that was well mothered or well fathered. I didn't have relationships that were healthy or modeled for me. So my thing is, this took me decades of healing. So yes, I'm going to consider myself a survivor. I'm going to say, yes, I have to take responsibility at the end of the day because it's easy to say that the guy is a bad guy, but at the end of the day, ultimately, I have to take responsibility for me.
So let me ask you this. So you believe that this relationship happened and it's because of your mother? You blame your mother?
No, she's not saying that at all, Remus.
No, I want to tell you this, Remus. The one thing, because for a long time I could not forgive my mother because I thought that she and my father chose not to love their children. I mean, they didn't. They did not. They fit every step, every little criteria of personality disorder. I walked around with a lot of hatred for her. But then one day I woke up and realized, you know what? It's not that my mother chose not to love her children. My mother was unable to love her children.
There's a difference.
She was unable to.
Yes.
So I would love to, a lot of people walk around and they say they have these ideal families, but you know what? That's not always the case for all of us. We were both of my parents are in the legal profession, and on the outside world, they showed the world that they were the kindest, most altruistic people. But behind closed doors, it was a house of horrors. So I want us to be careful because when we talk about certain types of violence, especially violence against men and women, whether it be physical, psychological, emotional, verbal, whatnot, that we're not so quick to say, stop being a victim. Stop being a victim. You need to validate these people and their experiences because for so long, they've been invalidated. Okay, but then it does come to a point where you have to say, okay, I can't keep blaming mom. Mom can't be my crutch.
Exactly.
Dad can't be my crutch. But I can still tell the story. We still have to be able to tell the story.
At what point do you say, I'm 40 years old, I'm a grown person, I have to take responsibility for my issues, I can't blame my parents, I can't blame this ex-boyfriend. At what point do we
At the point where you decide you've had enough of living that way and you want to change, that's when you go through it, and it's a whole life transformation in itself. And
this ain't a conversation for you, bruh, because you's a player.
What's up, Iowa?
All right, so Dr. Kitty Care, question for you: at what point does the victimizer become the victim? That was the question, right? That came from the studio. That's not from me. Someone here in the studio. I'm sorry, let me get the question right. Are the victimizers victims too?
I believe so because I believe that a lot of these individuals who have been diagnosed, I know my parents came from generational trauma, whether it be alcoholism, abandonment, beatings, incestuous relationships, molestation, really traumatized family backgrounds. And, looking back, you always say, should these be the people that should have been parents, when kids were being brought into the world, the kids were being brought into the world with a job, and that's to make the parents happy as opposed to the parents nurturing and raising that child, right?
Yes.
So yes, I believe there are two victims in this story. I really do believe. My heart goes out, but at the same time, when you're dealing with empaths and codependents, they can go on a healing journey. So, unfortunately, people with a narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality with they can fall on that spectrum of what kind of expression they have. Sociopaths, which is another name for antisocial personality disorder. Unfortunately, there is no treatment out there that can help them, unfortunately.
So, Dr. Kitty Care, I have another question for you, but I don't want you to answer it right now. I want you to think about it, and we're going to end our show with your response. So, the question coming from the studio, because there are people in the studio here now who asked me to ask you this question. Now that you know and understand that, and you've obviously extensively educated yourself in why your parents were the way they were, do you forgive them? So hold your answer. We're going to come back to that. And what we're going to do is we're going to thank Keisha. Thank you, Keisha, very much for signing on and sharing your experience. Thank you for sharing the rainbow at the end of your tunnel, right? And Keisha, most importantly, we wish you the absolute most best to your reconciliation with your relationship and your family. Thank you, Keisha, for signing on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now we're gonna jump over to Firewolf. I'm sorry. There's Firewolf and She-Wolf are the only two we haven't heard from yet. So
okay, I just want to say, like, hurt people. Healthy people don't hurt people. Just remember that. And when, like, the point that she brought about forgiving, there's healing in forgiving. You know, when you hold your grudges against, you know, these people, and learning about their past and where they come from, it helps you to heal and it helps you to forgive. It doesn't by any means make what they did right, but it helps. Like I said, there's healing and forgiveness. It's a huge thing.
All right, so
and I don't know if everyone knows, but I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I went back for it for 22 years.
Yes.
So talk about crazy. You have to ask, why do I keep going back for this?
Well, they say the average person who's I'm going to say a victim or a survivor, however you want to refer to yourself, will go back on average 7 times before they walk away.
I went back 100 times.
Yeah.
I'm a little hard-headed.
but thank you for saying that, because forgiveness, you know, you're right. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation, because some people just aren't safe to be found. You can still forgive and say, I love you, bless you. You know, you taught me.
And I'm out of this motherfucker.
That doesn't mean I have to have you breaking bread at my table anymore.
Absolutely.
Let it burn, bitches. I'm out.
I can't even wrap my mind around it. Somebody touched my person, hit me.
These fingers will
stole
work,
money
you
from
can't.
me. I can't imagine being like, oh, you love me, I love you. You know, let's be married. I'd be like, yo, if you hit me, you smack me,
the lows are lows, but the highs are high.
Hey, Remus, because you're a true player.
I'd be out. I'd be
You ain't let nobody get close enough to you to find out if they're a narc.
There's 8 billion people in the world. I don't need you.
Just step to the left.
I'd be happier alone.
So Remus, that's great advice. And you're absolutely correct.
You were probably brought up and you have strong boundaries. If you grow up and you don't know what boundaries are, that you know you get your identity through other people, that it's a warped sense of reality. It's just a different world. It is a.
I'll tell you this: my boundaries are so strong that if I'm dating a girl and she picks up my cell phone and goes through it, she will never see me again.
Absolutely.
I won't answer her phone. I won't answer her text. There's no sorry. There's no let's talk about it. If you pick up my phone and go through my phone, I don't care if my brother texts me, whatever. Then you don't trust me and you don't need to be around.
But Remus, you know what? We're gonna have to find a median for you too, because you haven't settled down yet. So get out of here with that.
It's not that simple.
No, we need to
because
find
I've been
a
in that
median.
situation.
Okay, well, Gray, we know you a player. We know you a player, Gray. Because where was you at? Hey, Gray, where was you at last weekend, Gray? See, you don't even want to say. You don't even want to say on the show, Gray. You don't even want to say on the show you was at last week because you don't know who's watching. So let me tell you something, Gray and Remus, y'all never need to meet. The earth doesn't need that. All right? So y'all, I'm just gonna say y'all not full of shit with the T. Y'all full of shit.
I'm not with Remus
with
on
the
this.
D.
I'm
with
with
the
y'all.
D. Shit. The D. With the shit. All right. So Gray, have you ever dated, or I know you talked about a little while ago, came close to dating? Oh wait, I'm sorry. Nope. She-Wolf here in the studio. Gray already kind of spoke. Sorry. Hey Shay. Yes. What's the deli, yo? Any narcs roll up in your life?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Yes.
Do I know?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. And the only thing that I can say is that you in your heart of hearts, like you within yourself, have to find the strength to be able to say, you know, enough is enough. No one can decide that for you at all. And also, I do know that you have to stay strong. Yeah. And the boundaries do help.
In your opinion, how does a narc get in? I want to hear that from She-Wolf. How does a narc get in?
The weakest part of you, the most vulnerable part of you. which is it's weird because it's just like one and the same. They use everything, actually. At least they try in the beginning. They use everything to try and get that door open or that window open. Because you left it unlocked.
Yeah. Got it. So basically, based on She-Wolf's advice, lock it the fuck up, this hot girl and hot guy Simon. Lock that shit
Wait.
the
Hold
fuck
on.
up.
No, we have to end on a positive, a big positive. Now, and I really want to
we
put it out
ain't
there.
done yet.
They're only good for one night stands. That's it. Just remember that.
Yeah, that's right. I think it sounds like a
positive
narc
note.
doesn't care if you ride it on a full or empty stomach. Just ride that shit or suck that shit, fuck that shit. Hit it from the back, the front, on top, on the bottom, whatever.
Here we go.
All right, so wait a
I
minute.
can always masturbate.
Ooh, wait a minute. Hold up.
You said end it on a positive note. It's safe. It works.
Yeah, right? Okay,
Nobody
so.
knows you like you.
Ooh! Ow! 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 Yo,
There's some
see,
advice I
we're
want to
gonna-
give to our
We're
listeners.
gonna do a show where
I-
Dr. Kitty Care is gonna tell y'all why masturbation is good for the female vaginal walls.
Like, she's like this. I feel it over there.
That's a discussion for another day.
That's a different show. But
That's a different show.
some of y'all chicas need to be rubbing that dang a little bit more is what I'm trying to say. So you can avoid the narc and keep the spark, bitches.
I got an
All
owl.
right, so
on
wait a
that
minute,
one.
wait a minute. All right, so Gray, you got anything else you want to add to that?
Absolutely. I think one of the most important aspects to dating right now is not just we have to remember that there's a lot of bad people out there with bad intentions, and I've met my fair share, but I've also met many people that are fantastic. And you know what? I feel like a lot of us have been victims and met a lot of terrible people that have shut us down and kind of locked our hearts away. And as we date, we try to create these rules in our mind, so we could avoid mistakes of the past. I'm going to say this, I don't think we should live our lives where we're trying to avoid the mistakes of the past. We should learn from them, and we should just be able to discern good people from bad people. And I think that's a skill you can pick up. You can teach yourself. You can work with a therapist to teach you how to be more discerning of people. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to really get to know people. And if someone really loves you and cares about you and they mean the world to you, you could slow things down, and you can just say, hey, listen, I really want to get to know you, and I really enjoy you. You're beautiful, you're wonderful, but I really just want to get to know who you are.
I got one question for you, Greg.
And
Yes,
share,
I'm going to interrupt
share
you.
fantastic time.
I'm
with you.
going to interrupt you right there.
And yes, we can masturbate with each
No,
other.
I see. That's discrimination of masturbation right there. Listen, Greg,
Greg said we
what I
can
was
tell
about to
you.
ask you is, have you ever said that to the Yeti?
That what exactly?
That you're beautiful and all that last stuff that you said at the end, Gray. Did you ever say that to anybody?
I've said it to Dr. Love on more than one occasion. And
Oh, shit. The cat is out the fucking bag.
Wait, Gray, what'd you say? I'm sorry, I missed it.
The cat jumped out the fucking bag and the wolf ate the bitch.
I'm just kidding. Me and Dr. Love are best friends.
All right, so H,
Love you too.
Firewolf, you got anything else for us?
No, I'm good.
Dr. Love?
Just stay safe. Trust yourself. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And most people have everybody actually has the internal wisdom. It's just accessing it and trusting it. to know if you're in a dangerous situation or not. And if you need help, just ask in the right places.
There are actually state resources for all this. There's shelters for people who for victims of abuse. Please look on your local website. Contact your local police force or whoever. Please get help. In New Jersey, we have JBWS is a fantastic organization.
Programs are not.
Unless your narc has a friend on the force, you're fucked.
Well, don't get help from ill-informed, judgmental assholes. That is my advice. Right? Yeah,
Did you
get
just
help
say
from
pigs?
those resources.
Oh shit! Hey Remus, what you got to say, sir? You got something for us before we go? Calling me ghetto the other day.
I would just say, everybody know that your self-worth, you're unique, that you're loved, that you're beautiful, that you're intelligent. And if you start finding someone that's telling you those things and you're getting all caught up in it, find your self-worth in yourself. Don't look for someone else to build you up, because you're eventually gonna be disappointed. They can't fill that space. There's no way. You have to fill that space.
Remus
That's
said,
it.
"Off with the head and go to bed." She-Wolf, what you got?
Love yourself.
Right.
I like the way you act like the mic is a dick. You be like, love yourself.
Oh my god.
And then, anyway, we're going to end with Dr. Kitty Care. Are you ready to answer the question for the studio, Dr. Kitty Care?
Yes.
All right, let's repeat the question. Studio, give me the question again, because you know my brain's all fucked up and I've been drinking. What is it?
Now that she's assessed the victimizers and she understands their situation, does she forgive her mother and father?
Now that, Dr. Kitty Care, you've assessed the victimizers and you understand the situation, you took the time to educate yourself, do you forgive them?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it is a weight lifted off. I mean, being on the other side of, going on that healing journey, because again, healing is not, there's no destination to it. It's a journey, it's a process. I look at my mother and father completely different. They have their own story, things that has happened to them. I no longer carry that weight of anger or hatred or anything like that. I don't. I know how to be safe. I know how to establish boundaries. I know when something's starting to kick in on their end, I'm able to remove myself from that.
They're clapping in the studio.
I can still be present. Yeah, I can
They're
still be
clapping in the
present
studio right now.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good shit
Yes.
with a D, not the T.
Now look, go back
Yes.
to Grey Wolf. He was trying to actually give the information of where people can
Hey,
contact.
hey, Grey Wolf,
Yeah, I'm right here.
you want to give the information one more time? The studio wants the information one more time for you, where people could contact if they're dealing with the situation. Greg.
So it's specific to state by state. In New Jersey, there's an organization known as JBWS, which I volunteered for in the past, and they will take care of victims of domestic violence and abuse. And every state has their own program. Please reach out to your local police force or your local town to find out your particular program. They're all different, but they're all very important. And police are starting to become more educated about this. So ignore what you hear on like the news and try to trust your local authorities.
All right, so really quick, Dr. Kitty Care, do you remember the surprise question? Because I don't.
Oh my gosh. The surprise question would be, and I hope I articulate this correctly, when someone is dating you, when someone chooses to date you, what is your red flag? Meaning, not what's a red flag you're looking for, but what's a red flag that they should be looking for in you?
Oh, shit. That's what the T. So listen, you guys get one sentence, and ladies, all right, you ready? Firewolf, what's your one sentence? What is a red flag that you give off?
I'm a people pleaser. I have trouble saying no.
That's a good red flag. I'm gonna send everybody your way. You better watch out. Dr. Love, what's the red flag? One sentence that you give off.
I would say I'm also people pleaser, However, I don't have a poker face. So if I see a hot person walk into the room, I like to look at the menu. I can't even help it. It's just like, and many people I've dated have been offended by it. I don't even realize I'm doing it.
I
fucking love it. I just have wandering eyes, but I don't do anything about it.
Thank you, Dr. Love. Remus, what's your
I'm
red
selfish.
flag? Ooh, I hope that don't mean you come first. Please fucking
Every
tell
time.
me. Remus, you muddy fucker! We gotta teach you not to come first, Remus. All right, Gray, what's your red flag?
I'm known to change my mind about people from time to time.
Gray, you inconsistent as a motherfucker. How you been on
Hot
the
and
show?
cold, hot and
All
cold.
4 episodes,
You a
you asked and
Scorpio?
showed up on time, but you inconsistent as a motherfucker. So you know what that tells me? You ain't found the one. Because when your ass want to show the fuck up, you show the fuck up, Gray.
It's very true. It's very true. Couldn't have said it better myself.
She Wolf, what's the one sentence?
I am a flirt.
Oh, she was. You got R. Kelly all in your ass. I'm
Not
a flirt.
that much.
Remember that song by R. Kelly? I'm a flirt. When I see your chick walk up in the club, I'm gonna flirt. When I see you in the club with your chick, I'm gonna flirt.
But it's,
at your wedding, I'm gonna flirt.
It's not to the extreme. It is controlled.
Is it? Is that a shid with a D or a T?
Well, she's aware of it.
T is hard as fuck. D is light. Which shit is it?
Only you will know.
The studio said you cute with that shit, though. She Wolf, you cute with that shit. That sounds like a hard ass T. All right, moving on to Dr. Kitty Care. Dr. Kitty Care, you want to answer that question?
You know, I think the red flag with me would be I can have a mean streak. I can go from 0 to 60 if I even detect deception, and I swear to God, the wolf in me will come out and I can red.
Based on your sign, I can see that shit. You would fucking love
Yeah.
a motherfucker, let them breastfeed or eat their asses. Not either gonna care for your ass till I give you my nutrients or eat you, motherfuckers. Whoa!
I taught my wolf how to meditate.
What's my red flag? My red flag is I will kick you the fuck out the party because it's just me and these two. On that night, good night. These 2 fingers,
Good night,
when you see these 2
everybody.
fingers, all that's
Good
all
night.
that's me. Fuck you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, all. Great show.
Yes, great.
Good night.